Real Voices of Happy Valley, Season 3.
Yeah, we couldn't keep away in the end, could we?
We had a nice long break, though.
Yes. But it's lovely to be back.
Yeah, so this first one is your chat with Bob and Carol Bridgestock.
Yeah, they're really interesting. They're both ex-police and they write crime novels.
Yes, and seem to be quite successful with it too.
They were
asked to be advisors to Sally Wainwright on her Happy Valley series.
That's right, yeah. They advised on all the police procedural stuff and, we're led to believe, came up with the title.
Yes.
Which is iconic.
So, interesting people. And very encouraging. Interesting people and very encouraging.
Yes, to anyone who wants to write themselves, say just go for it.
And in the meantime, we've acquired a dog.
Yeah.
So let's have a listen to them.
Okay, so I'm sitting here with Bob and Carol Bridgestock, who write crime novels between them. So thank you for inviting me to your lovely home. Fantastic views out the window and a lovely dog.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. So I've kind of done a little bit of research about you and I've discovered that in 2018 you've both left careers with the police force. So do you want to tell me about them and what made you leave, Bob?
Well, after 30 years in the police, I was a career detective. I got to saturation point. People tell you that you will do. And as a senior investigating officer, in the last 3 years alone, I took charge of 26 murders across Kirklees and Calderdale. I was on-call negotiator for kidnap, suicide, intervention, terrorism, you name it. So you were forever on call. And in the last week of the 30 years, I give evidence in 3 murder trials on the same day in Leeds Crown Court. And that just shows how busy it was at the time, because there wasn't that many senior investigating officers. So if there was a suspicious death, you got called to it. So it got to the stage where, like I say, I got to saturation point. Enough is enough. I'm sinking now, And had the time off, and had the days off, and spent time with the family. So I just said to Carol, right, enough is enough. We're going. We're retiring. I'm retiring. You're retiring. And we're going to head south. We're buying a house on the Isle of Wight. And we did. You do these plans, but they don't always work out. But it worked out. We always say fate plays an hand, but it worked out famously for us.
So, Carol, how did that land with you? Was it a bit sudden, or had you been expecting that?
Well, it done his 30 years, and when you've done your 30 years, you go. So we bought the house the year before on the Isle of Wight, but Bob had so many days that he hadn't taken off because, as he said, in his last 3 years alone, he took charge of so many incidents. And so we actually left 4 months earlier than what we planned. But we bought the house. So I was telling you, we took my mum and dad down with us, and we took my grandma. And they'd moved down a couple of months before we went. So
so
they were well pleased. So no, it was right. It was the right time, and I could see over the especially the last 3 years, it really took its toll on Bob.
Yeah.
The amount of work that was coming their way.
Well, all the police procedurals I watch, and I do watch a lot of them and read a lot of them, policemen never stay married because the job is just not conducive to a family life. So well done on that score.
We're both at previous marriages, but we've been together 32 years now. Better get it right. But it is difficult. But like Cal says, if you've worked 18 hours in one day and you were still getting called out maybe 2 or 3 times a night, so you're exhausted.
Yeah.
But because, like you just said there, we said, right, finish, we're going to spend the time together and catch up with the time that we've lost out.
And I think it was easier for us because we worked together. So I was.
You worked together in the police force as well as right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in the admin department. So I was at Sobby Bridge, Happy Valley. I was there from 1988.
Yeah.
So when it was like the centre of the Calder Valley hub, if you like. That was the admin. So we had Todmorden, we had Brighouse, and we had Hebden Bridge, and Sobby Bridge, Happy Valley Station was actually the main hub for the admin. So I worked there from 1988, so doing all the admin duties. So in a way, we could talk to each other, about the jobs, and I think that helps. And I think I understood the pressures they were under. Whereas perhaps, somebody who wasn't in the job might not understand just as...
I'd ring you, wouldn't I? I'd say, I'm in Marchry. Oh, right, how long are you going to be? A few hours yet. What? Yeah, I'll ring you when I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I think we smile about it now, but the only new car we ever had, that we ever bought, was delivered to the mortuary at Bradford.
Oh.
And the only reason we allowed that is because the salesman, it was the last day of the month, and he was going to get salesman of the month, which meant a financial reward to him if he delivered this car and signed it over. It was just the one. And we did.
So you happened to be at the mortuary.
So it came.
A trick on him.
It came and did it. Well, I'm in the mortuary with a green apron because they didn't have viewing rooms in those days. But he did all the car deal, swapping things from one boot to another. That car was never a nice car. It never had the right new smell about it. And it always caused a problem, wasn't it?
I think that's one of the things with the mortuary. It's a specific smell.
Right.
And whenever, obviously, in them days, you were up close with the professor,
were stood shoulder
or
to shoulder.
You weren't in a viewing room, if you like. You wasn't, and so that smell carried with the clothes when they came home.
Oh, right.
So it carried to the car, and that car never smelled like a new car, did it? It smelled like a mortuary.
I mean, but throughout the police, I've seen the police change. The police criminal evidence Act came in. I mean, I started where, policemen were looked at and, people don't let policemen talk to you. If it was a child, if policemen spoke to you, you were in trouble, Or they had capes back then. We had two-piece radios.
Starch collars.
Detachable
starch collars, yeah.
And
Truncheon.
we didn't have CS spray, we didn't have batons, we didn't have the camera technology.
You drove Morris Miners?
Morris Miners, minivans.
Minivans,
Vauxhall Vivas and all sorts. But it's that kind of sort of era. But I've seen it, I've gone through it where Police and Criminal Evidence Act came in. I taught crime at Wakefield at the training school there to detectives from all around the world. So, very interesting career. Frightening at some times. I've been injured a few times. I've been hospitalised a few times. I won't go into all that. But what do you do afterwards? What do you do after the police?
Landing and thinking, what happens now?
You see some police officers, I'm golfing every day. Others go on holiday or cruise it, I'm doing this. But you can only do that for so long.
Yeah.
But we had no plan of what we were going to do. We were just going to go.
And a lot of police officers go back, don't they, as civilians? They go back and do roles in the job, if you like.
Yeah.
But we were never going to do that.
I used to work as an extra, and there were an awful lot of police officers used to work for this same agency.
Right.
And we still know of quite a few that do.
Because, one of the things is, if they want a policeman in an episode, they want someone who knows immediately, how to stand, how to react, all things you probably don't even
to make it
think
authentic.
about.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things with the writing, because people say, write what you know. And obviously we didn't come from that background, neither has intended that we were ever going to write.
It wasn't on a bucket list.
Nothing.
No.
So what happened then? You're sitting there thinking what we're going to do.
Ask my English teacher. He just said there's no way in the world it takes you all your time to write a page, an essay, never mind a book.
100,000 words, yeah. So basically we went to the Isle of Wight and And for 5 years, we knocked the house from to bits, and we rebuilt, and we did everything for as life down there.
Got rid of the mobile phones and the pages, because I used to carry something like 3 mobile phones and a pager, And depending which one ringing, you knew which way you were going.
And the first time we went to the Isle of Wight, we were on the ferry, and there's only one county press every week, newspaper, and we picked up the county press, and the front page was a shopping trolley had been left on the beach.
Right.
And that was on the front page of the county press.
Yeah, so not a huge crime area.
And Bob went, I want to live here. And so we did. We eventually did.
I think I might be able to deal with that.
Yeah.
So we went down there and we did the house up, and we actually bred our dog, didn't we?
Yeah.
We got a Springer Spaniel, and we things that you always think I'd like to do, but you never got round to.
Yeah.
Probably normal. What people see as a normality is family life, and we never look back and think, because people say, "Don't you miss it?" No, too busy to miss it. Right, you bored? You're joking.
Yeah.
There's so much we want to do.
And nobody knew what we did. We never sort of talked about police. We never. And then we went to the hospice to try and help. Is there anything that we can do to help? Because I was saying my background's hairdressing, so I thought perhaps I could go and do something like that. And Bob thought maybe I could go and do a bit of gardening. And the lady there, Karen Eels, she said, but I found out what you used to do. Come and give the volunteers a talk.
Yeah.
And so we were
went a bit like, no, Karen.
Yeah,
no,
no.
Karen. Certainly not Karen. And that went on for like 12 months, didn't it?
And then we eventually wore us down, didn't she?
So, all right.
So he goes to do a talk, and we were supposed to be 40 minutes was the talk, and we were there 4.5 hours.
Wow.
And the people just wouldn't let Bob go. It was like, no, tell me something else. And they were laughing, they were crying, they didn't have the biscuits or the tea break.
Wow.
And Karen said that is unknown, but I think Bob just downloaded, it was a matter of they started asking him questions, and he just downloaded everything, and I thought it was quite cathartic. Anyway, at the end of the talk, as we're going out, so many people said, you should write a book. And like Bob said,
I just
so you
smile
start
and say,
off with a no.
Yep.
So everything that's happened has been very serendipitous, really. So we got home, didn't we, that night? And the next day, would you believe, the county press was out, which is a Friday. This was a Thursday. The Friday, the county press came out. And in the county press, there was a postcard side advert that said, write your first novel. And it was a course at the local college for 6 weeks.
Oh.
And I'd always wanted Bob to write his story. So to write, because I think he's had a really interesting life. And so I wanted him to write his story. And also I was proud of him, and I wanted the children to know what he did, and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, because he wore a suit. So it was like, no, you're not a proper policeman. You wear a suit. Anyway, so... But really surprisingly, he picked up the phone and he booked us on the course.
So you both went on this
and
course.
He said, if I'm going,
we're
both going. And within that 6 week, we really got into the groove of things. From going in and not knowing really what words they were speaking, they were talking about
I thought I'd gone
synopsises and
foreign language classic to me. It was like,
premises and blurbs and protagonists and
what? Sorry, I think we didn't remember.
And so
stuck with it,
at the end of the course, we got on with everybody really well. And everybody was saying, shall we do another course? Shall we do another one? So the teacher, Felicity Fair Thompson, she said, we'll do a rewrite your first novel course. So we did that for 6 weeks. And during that 6 weeks, Bob had actually wrote 120,000 words.
And it was just a couple of hours, one night a week, wasn't it? The course.
And the thing was, he'd wrote 120,000 words, and I know because I typed it up. Yeah. But as I'm typing it up, I realised that he was telling me a case. He was talking about, like I used to do file prep, one of my jobs before I left, and so for court, and he was telling me everything that was in a file. But there was no story behind it because these people didn't mean anything to me. And what I realised was, as a policeman, if you get to know your characters too well, if you like, then you'd never do your job because you get too involved.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's how he wrote it. And he wasn't telling me about how he actually felt. So I'd say to him, like, but how do you really feel? And he'd say, well, it's my job. And they were like, no, but people, I don't know what it smells like in a mortuary. Well, I do, because you brought it home in your clothes. But
but that kind of thing,
But how do you actually feel? Because we don't all feel good every day. So when you're actually going to a crime scene and you think the horrors that he's seen, how do you actually feel in yourself? And one of the things he tried to explain to me was the fact that because he had a job to do, that's what he did.
Yeah.
But that came over in his writing as non-committal,
Yeah, Carol called it the mask of the detective. Yeah. And I always say, look, it's like anything, if you become emotionally involved.
Well, yeah, in fact, one of your characters says that. It's a Charley Mann one.
Yeah.
And they've gone to find a body on the moors. It's hanging upside down. It's horrendous.
Payback.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's willing herself to just get on with it, which she does, but some of her junior people are quite appalled by it. So I can see that while you're doing it, you can't, but afterwards, and with your encouragement, it's brilliant that...
I think, one of the things for me, and I've dealt with bodies of all shapes and sizes, all age groups, like children. How do you do it? And,
that must be horrible,
and when you've got young children yourself, you go home and just check on them in the middle at night, and that you think that they're for the grace of God.
Yeah.
And, it's so difficult. Carol used to push all the time, saying, right, I'm not being awful. You're telling it, but you're doing it like a police report, like you're doing a court file.
Yeah, which isn't going to engage people, is it?
And people always said I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder when I've been interviewed by the national media. And Carol says, right, let me just, like she said, well, tell me then. No, not as a detective. Not as a person.
As a dad.
As a man. Dad.
Yeah.
How do you really feel? When you go into the mortuary or you've gone into this scene. I really want to know how you feel. You can tell me as a police officer because you're going to do, but then take that mask off and tell me. And I think it's through Carol's persistence that eventually, I think after that first one I didn't write longhand anymore. It's on the laptop, but
I start to use. You, could you? You couldn't do it as you. We had to do it through
not
Dylan.
As the rank that I was. I had to reduce myself in rank, which is not easy when it's been so hard to get to that rank.
Your detective, not your dog.
That's right, yeah. So basically the Dylan series, so there's 9 books in the Dylan series, and Dylan is very loosely built on Bob because that's what we knew. Okay. And Jen is very loosely built, based on me. So as the series goes through, you live their lives with them as you go through the series. So that's how we built the Dylan series. And then our agent David Headley said to us, we'd like a female protagonist. So Bob had to change sex.
You're looking well on that.
Well, it was painless. But...
So Dylan actually covers this area. He covers like the Calderdale Valley area. He covers so it's basically at the time we didn't use the real places because somebody said to us, don't use real places because things change. So things like there might be a precinct in Hebden Bridge that develops. So it ages you.
So it's ages, right? Yeah.
So Hebden Bridge became I can't remember. Tandem Bridge, didn't it?
Ellen became Brelland, and Huddersfield became
Harrowfield. So Halifax became Harrowfield. But then with Charley Mann, she covers the Kirklees area. She covers like over that side. So she's from sort of Marsden, Slowett. She comes down from hills. And so we wanted something with that protagonist that was completely different. So Dylan's very, very, because he's loosely based on Bob, very Bob-like. He's very procedurally, correct and very, how do you say, like, how would you describe?
Hard-faced detective.
Yeah.
Experience, but it's somebody that never backs away from him to his detriment. Like I say, I've been hospitalised a few times, but from that point of view, it's a case of Dylan is, like Carol says, different. He deals in facts. A lot of the cases that Dylan deals with is real life things that I've dealt with. We've swapped it all about, so you'd never know which, So if somebody was shot with a knife, if not, it's a hanging or whatever. They're all different.
You do
but
get
the characters,
policemen saying that's me, isn't it, boss?
We've got-
like the
we've got a
sergeant
large
or whatever.
following
We've got a large following of police
officers,
officers. Yeah.
and they always, whenever they came, and I mean, it's great support. We'll come on to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the lovely thing is that they say, "Oh, I read it, love it. It's like being back in the job." That's me, though, isn't it? No, it isn't. Read what it says. No, it definitely
Yeah, I've
is.
heard this from other authors
But-
that people want it to be based
gosh,
on
they
them.
want it to be.
Yeah.
But Charley Mann reads the land. So she was brought up by folklorists. Would you believe that when we were writing Payback, we were actually living in Norland? And of course, you've got the Hobbit. We actually had a hobgoblin on our door because we lived in a barn.
Oh, right.
And it was like a door knocker with
And
a
you've got
hobbit on
Boggart
it.
Lane.
You've obviously got...
So we've got all the supernatural
So-
type things.
Absolutely.
Everything just seemed fit for the transition. And like Carol says, David Edley, who's our Goldsborough Books in London, who deals with capital crime, he's the person behind it all, just came out with this. I don't want to sense Dylan at all. So can you do it? And we said, well, we'll see.
So I was thinking with Charley Mann, I don't think a man could write some of the things that she goes through. So is that you, Carol?
No, what we actually do is, this is how we write. So, and it's always been the case, this is how we started. Bob writes, basically, if we had a body lying down there and Bob came in as the officer, he wouldn't know anything about that person. He wouldn't get close to that person. He would deal with it as he would at work. And that's exactly how he does it, right from start to finish of the crime. So every book is a different story. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
So it is procedurally correct. We go through the whole procedure of how the criminal is caught or whatever. So that's how it works. So Bob then writes that from start to end. Then he gives it to me.
Right.
So then I develop the characters. I give the characters a backstory.
Yeah.
I write the scenery, the place, the characters, basically. Bob might give them a name, and if that name doesn't resonate with me, because I can't see that person being a whatever.
And it's a problem. That's the only problem we have. When we sit down to discuss it, she'll say, well, for example, well, Mary does this. Oh, who's Mary? Well, I didn't like what you call us.
I don't actually say it like that.
No, but that in simple terms. But then we
But it
sit
sounds
down
like
and
you're a great team. If
we
you
work
can
it through together.
do those
And
things.
we use the emotion behind it is what we've sensed on other people. Because I always say, apart from the murder scene itself, apart from dealing with the murderer, apart from dealing with the court case, you've the family. And you're going to give them the worst news ever. And as a senior investigating officer, you used to go and meet the family because they wanted to see who were in charge. They wanted to know. They wanted to be able to trust you. And it's heartbreaking. I've cuddled people. I've held people's hands. You don't see it these days in press conferences. And it's such a emotional journey for everybody. But at the time, you keep the straight face. It's only when you get home, behind the closed doors, that things hit home. And really, between us, we just talk it through. Well, how would she feel? How does she feel? And we base it on people we know. We base it on our own feelings. And we try to put the twists in. But what we really try to do is get the reader or the listener to come with us on the journey. And as though they actually can
On the team.
see themselves being there, they can visualise it. When we first started off, I said, well, they're like scratch and sniff books that children have. We want people to, when we're describing it, as though you can smell it.
Yeah, and I
it's
think
like
going
a
back
maze.
going back to like the writing process, I don't think probably readers realise how much not only goes through when you finish that process, because you might submit 120,000 words, but then you go through editorial passes. So we've just been through 3 editorial passes with our publisher.
So what does that mean?
So basically they read it They put their editorial head on it.
The
what's
strengths and
selling,
weaknesses.
The strengths and weaknesses.
That's lovely, but you've done it too fast, or
we need to slow that part down. We need to quicken
that chapter's just not as strong as the others. You need to just revisit that.
And obviously, like when you're writing it and you're putting it all down, you've got to realise that every chapter, as we write it, needs to be in somebody's point of view. So it's very easily to mix up point of view when you've got a lot of people together, especially when you're doing an investigation. And a home life, you need to know, one of the things that Karen says to us when we were doing Split Second was, I want to know more about Dylan. Well, obviously, we've got 9 books in the Dylan series, so any of because we have got followers who really,
Yeah, they'll know,
they know
how
that,
come he's doing that in
absolutely.
another book who was doing that.
Our character's better than us. So it's like, I want to know more about Dylan in this book, but them who have already read your 9 books want to learn something different about Dylan.
Right, yeah.
So
do you have like post-it notes everywhere with...
We have a database because, over the period of time we've been writing, people age, people age, and, because Carol, like I say, I usually start off with a main outline of the story, and Carol said, right, give me somebody who taught you that character who you're thinking of or whatever, and she might do a map of the story.
Yeah.
For her benefit, whereas I've got it in my head as it were.
I sometimes do. I don't always do them now because obviously I know the characters so well that they're in my head. The friends that they might be sat around this table with it. Do you know what I mean? That's how we talk about them now. We talk about them as they're real people. So I have got storyboards. We've got a pack which we take to our talks. We've got storyboards, so I have pictures, and one of the easiest things to do if you're going to write something and it's a long novel, for instance, you can quite easily forget what colour hair have they got, what colour eyes have they got, how old are they, what do they wear.
Let me tell you this, writing a book is hard work. Everybody can tell a story. Writing a book, to anybody out there that's listening that's got a story to tell, write it.
Yeah.
Getting it published is the next big thing. You get self-publishers, but a credit to anybody that writes a book. We got interviewed for the Halifax Carrier, didn't we?
Virginia
Mason. And she says, oh, you should speak to Sally Wainwright. I've just interviewed her. And I says, yeah, but we don't know her. And thought nothing more about it. Then we get a phone call. It's Sally Wainwright now. Nowadays you think, hey, up, it's a scam.
Yeah.
You think it's a scam, and what's this going on?
Yeah.
I've got to do this programme. I wonder if you'd like to come up to Manchester and talk to me about it. So we travelled. He said, yeah, we will do. Never been involved in anything, advising or storylines. So we came up to Manchester. Carol and I sat with Sally, and her remit was...
Juliet Bravo Modern Day. That was the remit from the BBC.
Yeah.
We want something Juliet Bravo Modern Day. And so we sat down and she had an outline of exactly how she wanted the story to go. But she wanted it, the first series, it was, I want it exactly how it is. So she was very aware at the time, very forward thinking, Sally, that people are watching things like The Interceptors, they are watching forensics on telly, they do know what happens, they do know you wear gloves at
and she
crime
wanted
scene.
a policewoman uniform side. She knew exactly what she wanted. She said, I just need help with police advice and stories.
But she wanted it to be exactly as it is.
So
good for her.
We toed and fro, backwards and forwards. We did a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls. We came up with the storylines with the things
Drugs.
I'd dealt with the drugs, the lad on the swing for the negotiators,
remember
the
that.
extortion, the kidnapping, the white van, were based on things that I knew.
Yeah.
And
The boat.
The
canal.
And at the end of it, Sally says, gosh, it's the first time I've had all 6 episodes done
before we start filming.
Wow.
And I can't thank you enough. So you were police advisors, but I've got to put you in as, because of all the work you've done, storyline consultant. We actually came up with the name Happy Valley.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
the thing for us was, we mentioned fate before, is that Summerreach Police Station, the round window was my office.
The one where the inspector's in.
And then the railway station, of course, got used.
Yeah.
We used Norland. So it all just seemed to slot into place for us. And we did it without really thinking much more about it, but enjoyed the journey, enjoyed meeting people, and went back to the
And
Isle
I
of
think
Wight.
even Sally was very surprised at how well it was received, because
Well, I can tell you this as well. Dave and I went travelling after we retired because we never got to do it. We never went to university.
No,
we
didn't
didn't
either.
have gap years.
No, wasn't
Didn't,
either.
because
The only gap I've ever had is in my tooth, you know.
So we got married and had kids very young. So we thought, right, well, let's go travelling now. We've retired. So we went to see people who'd gone to live abroad. And I've got siblings in Canada. So we went to see all of them. We went to America. We went to Australia and round Europe. But in every English-speaking place we went, they said, so you live near Halifax, Sowerby Bridge, Hebden Bridge. We're thinking, how do they know these places? They said, Happy Valley. It's fantastic.
It was on the map
And
very quickly.
they loved it. And so that's what made us have our podcast when we got back.
Right.
Which we called Real Voices of Happy Valley.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyed talking to you. It's been great.